Welcome to my Unit 7 presentation of Human Nutrition and Digestion. My name is Karen and I will be discussing the function and structure of the organs that make up the digestive system. I will explain the process of mechanical and chemical digestions and the enzymes used in these processes. Finally, I will talk about which food groups constitute a balanced diet and give some examples of sources. The digestive tract takes nutrients from our food and turns them into energy. There are four main processes in digestion: motility, the movement of food along the digestive tract; secretion, the release of hormones and enzymes that break down food; digestion, the breakdown of food into small parts that can be absorbed; and absorption, the uptaking of nutrients into the body. The digestive system is made up of different structures. The first is the mouth. Structures and chemicals in the mouth begin the process of digestion. Teeth mechanically chew and break down foods. Humans have four types of teeth: canines for ripping and tearing, incisors for cutting food, premolars and molars for crushing and grinding. Salivary glands secrete saliva, a watery liquid that contains the enzyme amylase. This starts to break down the food. Saliva is produced in the response to the sight or smell of food. The tongue is a movable set of muscles that will assist with moving food around the mouth and swallowing by moving the bolus of food to the back of the throat. It is also used for sucking, which is particularly important for babies who drink milk. The tongue is covered with sensory cells that help us to taste food. The pharynx is a passage that connects the mouth and nasal cavities to the esophagus and larynx. It serves both the digestive and respiratory system. The pharynx is an area where involuntary swallowing occurs. The food bolus is pushed over the epiglottis, a flap of tissue that stops the food from entering the respiratory passages, and into the esophagus. The esophagus is the tube that connects the pharynx to the stomach. The esophagus is approximately 25 centimetres long and is made up of four layers detailed in this slide. The liver is a multifunctional organ that assists digestion by producing bile. Bile is a liquid made up of water, cholesterol, salts and bilirubin. Bile breaks down large fat molecules into smaller ones, but bile is not an enzyme, and although liver aids digestion, it's not part of the continuous digestive tract. It is located on the right side of the abdomen underneath the diaphragm. The gallbladder is a sac that stores and releases bile produced by the liver. The gallbladder is connected to the small intestine by a series of tubes called bile ducts. The stomach is located in the upper abdomen on the left side. The stomach's main role is to mix the food bolus received from the esophagus with gastric liquids that break down the food into a semi-fluid called chyme. The gastric liquids are made up of water, hydrochloric acid, which kills bacteria, minerals, salts and enzymes. The liquid also contains the intrinsic factor, which is a glycoprotein that helps us absorb vitamin B. The stomach has two sphincters: the cardiac sphincter that opens to let food into the stomach and stops acid going up into the esophagus, and the pyloric sphincter, which empties the stomach contents into the small intestine. The small intestine is 6 to 7 metres in length and is responsible for most of the absorption of nutrients. It is split into three main parts. The duodenum, 20 to 25 centimetres in length, receives the chyme from the stomach and bile from the gallbladder. Bicarbonate is released to neutralise stomach acids. The jejunum, 2.5 metres in length, has villi to absorb nutrients, particularly sugars and amino acids. And the ileum, 3 metres in length, and absorbs any leftover nutrients, in particular vitamin B12 and bile acids. The large intestine is approximately 1.5 metres in length and divided into four main sections. The ascending and transverse colon removes water and remaining nutrients, and good bacteria break down chyme and form faeces. The descending colon stores faeces ready to be emptied into the rectum. The sigmoid is a muscular section that empties faeces into the rectum. The rectum is the concluding part of the digestive pathway and precedes the anal canal. The rectum contains stretch-detecting nerve endings that tell your brain when you need to open your bowels. The anal canal is where faeces leave the digestive tract through the anus and is made of voluntary and involuntary sphincters. Solid foods are broken down into smaller pieces in the mouth. Teeth rip, grind and chew food, and the muscles of the jaw facilitate the movement of the teeth. The tongue rolls the food into a bolus and around the mouth and into the pharynx. Chemical digestion is when food is broken down by chemicals called enzymes. Chemical digestion begins in the mouth with saliva and continues in the stomach and the small intestine. Gastric enzymes have specific functions and optimum functioning environments. So, what are enzymes? Enzymes are specialised protein molecules that are released in different parts of the digestive tract. They act as catalysts for speeding up cellular reactions. They are nutrient specific and break down food molecules. How do enzymes work? Different enzymes are folded into different shapes. The active site is the area in which specific molecules fit into. There are two main theories on how enzymes work. First, the lock and key theory. This suggests that the enzyme site, the active site, is rigid and that the substrate, which the molecule that the enzyme works on, fits in like a lock and a key, as shown in the diagram. Secondly is the induced fit model. Suggests that the active site is flexible and amino acids within the active site bind to the substrate and form the connection. Optimum conditions for enzymes. Enzymes work best at human body temperature, which is around 37 degrees Celsius. Too cold and they will work too slowly, and too hot and they will break down. Each enzyme has its own optimum pH, depending on where in the body it is functioning. Each enzyme has a specific environment it works in. For example, pepsin in the stomach and amylase in the mouth. Here are two enzyme examples. Pepsin. Pepsin is a stomach enzyme. It is secreted from the gastric glands. Pepsin helps to digest proteins by breaking down the protein chains. It has an optimal function of 1.5 to 2 pH. Sucrase. Sucrase works in the small intestine. Sucrase breaks down sucrose into glucose and fructose. It has an optimal function at 3.5 to 5.5 pH. So what is a healthy diet? A healthy diet contains all the macro and micronutrients. This includes carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins and minerals. A healthy diet is specific to a person's energy and nutritional requirements and incorporates all 5 food groups. We should have a few servings of Group 1 foods a day. They include meat, poultry, fish, eggs, nuts, beans and pulses. Group 1 foods provide us with protein. Oily fish contains omega-3 fats which protects against heart disease. Protein is vital for muscle development, metabolism and fluid balance. Our diet should consist of 1/3 Group 2 foods. These are starches and include breads, pastas, rice, potatoes and grains. Whole grains are a good source of dietary fibre, calcium and B vitamins. Carbohydrates provide the body with energy. Fibre that cannot be digested helps food and waste products move through the gut. The NHS Eat Well guide recommends that we eat 5 portions of Group 3 fruits and vegetables a day. These are crucial for a healthy diet and come in a variety of forms such as root vegetables, leafy greens, berries and citrus fruits. They contain antioxidants which help eliminate disease-causing free radicals in the body. Free radicals are unstable, independent molecules from either metabolic processes or absorbed into the body through pollution, X-rays, cigarette smoke and industrial chemicals. Fruits and vegetables are good sources of vitamins, minerals and soluble fibre. Group 4 foods include milk, cheese, yoghurt, unsweetened dairy alternatives. They are a source of calcium, vital for bone health and contain vitamins and minerals for essential body processes. Dairy can be high in saturated fats and must be consumed in moderation. Group 5 foods include saturated and unsaturated fats. Saturated fats include butter, meat, fats, coconut and palm oil, and they are usually solid at room temperature. Too much saturated fat raises the levels of bad cholesterol in the blood, increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke. Unsaturated fats include olive oil, vegetable oil, seed and nut oils. These are considered much healthier alternatives to saturated fats. Fats in the diet are essential for the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins and energy.